Hi, this is Paul from InsideTheSun.com. In today's video, I wanted to do a quick example of how we can use locational astrology to help us achieve our goals and reach our objectives in ways which we wouldn't think of otherwise without actually living in those locations. So in this case, I'm taking a situation from my own life and I'm showing you how I used a Paran in a totally different location. In this case, it was Mercury-Jupiter to help me reach a goal more harmoniously than I would have otherwise. So it's a good example. It's a lot of fun. And without further ado, please enjoy. Okay, so to start, here we have my map. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the backstory of what was going on that I was dealing with. We actually wanted to get a trademark submitted for a new brand for a business. And in order to do that, I needed to find a trademark attorney to hash out what we wanted and submit the app and hopefully get it done right so that it wasn't rejected or incur any long-term expenses trying to fix stuff down the line. So it was a very specific task, and it was business related, law related, wanted to communicate clearly of what we were trying to do. So this is sort of paints the picture of what the task was that I wanted to get completed. But when I was beginning, I didn't really have a rhyme or reason of the trademark attorney to contact. There was a list of about a dozen that I could choose from, so I chose one at random. And what ended up happening was, so I called him up and I ended up talking to an assistant, and I was trying to explain, what we wanted to have done, our situation, our brand, our products, what the best categories might be. And she wasn't really all that helpful. She was trying to understand what I was talking about, but not really. So then she said, she'll pass along the information and have an attorney get back to me. So, I waited a day or two, and then I got an email from an attorney, but the information in the email, it wasn't very clear. It wasn't like addressing what we wanted to do. It wasn't really specific to our brand and answering the question about what category to submit from. It was sort of like just a copy and paste type email that didn't really have any clear information or any useful information. And in fact, like even on the email, it was she had somebody else's name on there, so it was like just a poor copy and paste job. And at that point I realized this conversation, trying to move forward with this transaction, it wasn't really working out too well. There was sort of a breakdown in communication, so to speak. So after that, I thought, well, hey, why don't I look at my astrology to see what was going on in that area so that I can sort of reassess and maybe choose a more beneficial area to get this sort of task done. So here is my map. This is where I was born. And the first attorney I contacted was in Atlanta, Georgia. So I will jump on over to there to see what's going on in Georgia for me, like for my chart. And here we are, Atlanta, Georgia. And right away we see two local space lines going right through it. It's Mars and Mercury. So at first glance, Mars and Mercury, you wouldn't think that would be right off the bat be a challenging line, challenging lines to go through for this specific experience. But because, Mercury's business, Mercury's communications, this is sort of what I was doing. And Mars can be logical. It can be practical. So at first glance, this didn't really seem like an issue. But these are local space lines. And to understand what local space lines are doing, we have to look in the natal chart to understand how those planets are doing in the natal chart. So I'm going to pull up my natal chart to see. Okay, so here's my natal chart. And Mars and Mercury are in the 12th house. So that, like right off the bat, explains almost exactly what was happening. Because the 12th house is loss. It could be financial issues. It could be unnecessary expenses. It could be added frustrations. It could be challenges. So after looking at how my Mars and Mercury are doing in my natal chart and seeing those local space lines going right through that city, it all started to make sense. And right then I knew, I'm like, well, I don't want to pursue this attorney any further because the 12th house, it's like oftentimes long-term loss, long-term challenges. So I knew this situation wasn't going to get any better. And even if we did get the app submitted, I would probably be more likely to get rejected and have the long-term expenses of trying to get it, resubmitted and all this other stuff. So, needless to say, I went back to the drawing board. So, let me go back to my map. Okay, so here I am back at the map in Atlanta. So, starting from scratch, I decided to go back to the starting point in California. And I thought to myself, why don't I look through the other attorneys' locations and sort of match it up with a place that might look beneficial from my astrolocality standpoint? And well, before I even looked at the list of attorneys, I noticed this Paran here. It was Mercury and Jupiter Paran. I'm like, wow, if I could find something on that Paran, that would probably be pretty good, because Mercury, is all about communication, and if it's with the benefic planet Jupiter, it makes everything more balanced and beneficial. And Jupiter is law, and this is a law situation. And Jupiter is good luck, it's expansiveness. So then I can have good luck and expansiveness with business, which is Mercury. So I thought to myself, man, if I can get close to that Paran, then I might have a much better sort of situation unfold for me. And so, I looked through all the cities from all the attorneys, and luckily enough, I actually found one that was very close to this Paran. And it was in Kansas. So let me go to Kansas. So for me, this Mercury-Jupiter goes right through Kansas City, or just a couple miles away. Let's see how far it is from Kansas City. 10 miles. So very strong there. So what I did, I called up that attorney. I got to somebody right away, and it was one of the actual attorneys. And real quickly, I was describing what I wanted, like our niche, our products, our website, the brand. And I kind of had an idea of maybe the categories that I wanted to put it under. And then she kind of led me in another direction, saying, hey, why don't you, since it's a website selling multiple things, you don't have to be so specific with your category. And she kind of gave me some ideas of our future items, that if we do carry them, that perhaps they could be included as well. Looking at what other companies that are sort of similar, just kind of like doing a quick little cursory search. So after talking to her for 10 minutes, I got a ton of great information about what we actually wanted to accomplish. When I was explaining to her, it was like she understood what I was talking about. She quickly gave me back some great information that I could use and incorporate into like how we could make this transaction even better, more likely to succeed. And like I said, it was a 10-minute conversation that led me far more along the correct path of what I was trying to accomplish than the other one did over 2 days of not really understanding what was going on. And it's all because of this Paran here, Mercury-Jupiter. And real quick, to talk about the difference between Parans and local space lines and why I'm not looking at the natal chart for these. Parans are generally the natural significations of the planets. So you're not worried about what the planets are doing in the natal chart when you're looking at Parans. You're sort of seeing, well, what do these planets do in general, and what happens when you combine the two? And we know, they're both benefics. Jupiter, is expansive. It wants things to work out. It's generally good fortune when you're trying to do stuff, if there's no, malefic influence with it. And since it's with Mercury, who is also a benefic, there's no reason why Jupiter's not bringing out its best attributes. And the same for Mercury. Jupiter's actually bringing out a lot of Mercury's best attributes. Ease in communication, good luck with this sort of law business transaction. It was a very pleasant experience overall for trying to get this done. All right, well, there we go. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was an interesting little example of how we can use locational astrology to our advantage, even when we're not actually in a given location. It was very fun for me to kind of like use this in a way to help me achieve my goal. And this is just one little example. There are many ways that we can do this, whether it's jobs, relationships, career changes, school. A lot of times when you're like thinking about solutions to problems, and it doesn't always have to be about moving to that location. It could be about accomplishing a goal by leveraging a location and seeing what the results might be in general that way. So, anyways, I think it was fun. I think it was good. If you have any ideas, let me know. We can do other little examples and other little case studies to see how things play out. But all in all, good times. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later.